Deadly combo. Black Prophet. Charlie Black AR the Prophet.
AR the Prophet, Charlie Black, a deadly combination. Hold up, I don't think they heard me. I said, AR the Prophet, Charlie Black, a deadly combination. Hey yo, turn me up a little. We good. AR the Prophet, Charlie Black, a deadly combination. It's been long overdue, I know the streets been waiting. Which takes a lot of patience, cause you never rush great. This was for the record, but going down history in the making. AR the Prophet, Charlie Black, a deadly combination. It's been long overdue, I know the streets been waiting. Which takes a lot of patience, cause you never rush great. This was for the record, but going down history in the making. First it was Elijah Muhammad, now we the honorable Black Prophet. We been in our bag and out of our feelings, securing all the profit. And going outside, don't know what you hearing, so miss me with that gossip. Staying sucker free from mob shit, let someone get out of pocket. Whoa, we come from different walks of life, but relate to the same cause. Fighting and live a fight, laid up behind them hospital walls. They poke us like a face, but like syringes sharper than a knife. Take a cookie from the jar, grind it, wrap it in the raw. YBT would stay loyal, no damn miss a prop. Shots to my producers, King Jones, it's a hop. AR with the alley-oop, I threw him up a lot. Far from a corny nigga, I'm the hottest side of cop. I had to boss up for a check, move my fam up out the jets, draft some key players in my set, sauce with a blue cheese, dabber ranch. I am a club member, you a guest. Speak of my name, better put respect. Step up to me, got a couple right. Fuck who got now or who got up next? Yeah. AR the Prophet, Charlie Black, a deadly combination. It's been long overdue, I know the streets been waiting. Which takes a lot of patience, cause you never rush great. This was for the record, but going down history in the making. AR the Prophet, Charlie Black, a deadly combination. It's been long overdue, I know the streets been waiting. Which takes a lot of patience, cause you never rush great. This was for the record, but going down history in the making.
AR the Prophet, Charlie Black. Black Prophet, that's a fact. Going down in history, and it's a fact. It's a deadly combo, niggas know that. Prophet, that's a fact. Black Prophet, from the bottom of the map. It's Atlanta, Georgia to Florida. We up in them waters, it's on, bruh. Black Prophet, that's a fact. Deadly combination, y'all got it at. They ain't ready for that shit, Charlie Black. Let's give it to him, bro. Welcome. Black Prophet. Yeah. Two young brothers.
Welcome back. Sorry for the delay. We were having a few issues, but we are back with our guest co-host again, Greg.
Hello, everybody.
Jennifer. Y'all know Jennifer.
I'm here, and we are talking about opioid dependency.
Right. And the difference between opioid dependency and opioid addiction. We know some of you might be a little confused on the difference. Some of you may be a little defensive when we bring the topic up, but it's not to ruffle. It may be to ruffle your feathers a little bit, but
I don't think so.
Well, it's a conversation we need to have regardless, whether it ruffles your feathers or not.
Yeah, and your feathers only gonna get ruffled if you ain't doing what you're supposed to do. So
correct. So let's first talk about opioid addiction, or just addiction in general. The addiction is more so of a physiological or psychological. It may be a chemical imbalance. I'm not a doctor, so I can't say for sure. A lot of this is coming from Merriam-Webster. So, but it is a physiological or a psychological urge to just have something. In today's case, we're talking about opioid addiction. So, any of you guys want to add to that?
Well, and also it could be something that's genetic. If your family is predisposed to, addiction, that could be something that you need to look out for in your family line. But dependency is just the fact that you need something in order to progress. It's just like people who are dependent upon oxygen in order to walk around in their daily lives and feel normal. So I don't want people to get too confused.
Right. You want to add to that, Greg?
Yeah, let's see. I said there's a difference between being dependent upon something and being addicted to it. When it comes to the opioids or any type of medication that we are prescribed or that we receive during treatment, you can become addicted to it, and then the withdrawals will begin to follow. So I say when it comes to being addicted is, say for us, people with sickle cell, the first sight of pain, first thing you do, oh, I need a oxy, or I need a Lortab or something like that. When really, in actuality, you could probably be okay with maybe ibuprofen, but
Right.
because you become dependent on that substance, your body is like, you know exactly what you need, and you're gonna listen. So
Right. So we do want to hear you guys' thoughts about the topic, and you can tell us your story that you've had with it. 470-251-4647. Let me say that a bit slower. 470-251-4647. And we talked before about how it came about. How did opioid dependency come about initially? And I think it's because since that opioids and narcotics are sometimes the biggest thing that helps severe pain, we're kind of trained to reach for that when we're in pain. And sometimes, like Greg mentioned, we don't realize that sometimes it may not be sickle cell pain, or sometimes it is sickle cell pain. And for me specifically, I could take a 800 ibuprofen and it'll do away with the pain. That's not all the time, but that is some of the time.
I think though, like, because we're in a situation where all they do is treat the pain and not necessarily treat, you know, the the onset of the pain or the reason for it. A lot of times we kind of get brainwashed into thinking that we always need the Dilaudid or this, that, and the other, when sometimes you can, I think that it's important sometimes to feel the pain,
Yeah.
because it lets your brain, it kind of recalibrates my brain
Mm-hmm.
when I make myself experience the pain. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe right now I could just kind of power through it instead of taking something, or, do a heating pad, or do, a cream or something else. And I think it's important that we learn that there are steps that we can take before we get to taking the opioid that has been prescribed for us.
Right. I remember when I was younger, my mom would keep my medicine, and then it was just Tylenol number 3, but she would keep them, and I would have to go to her and say, I'm in pain, can I take some? And she would dish it out to me. And now that I think about it, I think that was probably a good thing, so that I didn't become dependent, or I didn't reach for that. A lot of times, and even now, I'll still try to mask the pain. By the time I actually say that I'm in pain, oh, it's up there, and I probably should take something. But when I was younger, my mom would just keep them, so I didn't have, the access like I would if they were just in my room or in my nightstand drawer. I would use those whatever alternatives I had at the time before I'd even say, "Hey, mom, I'm hurting real bad." So, what about you? Can you add to that?
yeah, my mom basically did the same thing, so that way I wouldn't be conditioned to think, oh man, like I got a headache, I need to take an
Right.
oxycodone or something like that. Like you have to see what you can bear before you just automatically assume that you need to take the highest dose of something, or something that's a lot stronger than what you really need, because over time you'll keep doing that, and then that's when the dependency will begin, and then the dependency will turn to an addiction.
Right. And then if you're used to taking a low dose, your body's going to get used to that. You're going to need a higher dose, and it's just going to keep going up and up and up. So, like you said, Jennifer, sometimes we just have to let ourselves feel the pain or try those alternatives before we even reach for the pain medicine.
Yeah, I think that not, and I'm not saying this about everybody because we all have our own journey to
Right.
go through with sickle cell because it affects us all differently. But I know like some people never allow themselves to experience pain at all. It's like at the very first sign of pain, it's like, oh, I need to go to the hospital. And sometimes you don't need to escalate there automatically.
Mm-hmm.
And because those people do that, they never really get a chance to see what their body is capable of handling.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know that on a regular day I'm in the 3 to 4 level pain, like, and that is what I operate at.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to the hospital or any of those things until it's completely unbearable, or other things in my body are starting to happen that would be cause for concern.
Right.
And I think that it's important for us to allow our bodies to adjust to being what our normal is. Like, find out what your normal is, so
Right.
that at every little pain you have, you're like, oh my gosh, this is a big deal. It's not. This is our life. This is
Mm-hmm.
what you have to deal with. So at every little sign of pain, you're gonna run to the hospital
Right.
because you don't think you should be in any. That's just not realistic.
Right. And we can't afford to run to the hospital, especially now. We can't really afford to go to the hospital. And they're sending some people home because they don't need to be there. And some of them do, but that's another story. But we try to do, like you said, what we can to keep from, we can't go to the hospital every time we're in pain. We have to know our bodies well enough to know what we can and can't deal with, and what works for us and what doesn't. Your level 4 might be my level 8, or that might be Greg's level 10. We just don't know what we are capable of. And yeah, testing those waters, you still have to know yourself to know what limit that you just can't go. If your normal is a 4, let's try, how can we function? How much can we do at a 6? Or
Right.
how long can we wait before we take that medication? Or just knowing those boundaries. So I agree with that. Candace says, you got to see what the body is telling you. Not all pain is sickle cell pain. Try some alternatives like you mentioned.
Right.
Warm bath, hydration, heating pad, the TENS unit. I do like the TENS
I
unit.
really do enjoy that.
Consider the source and fix that. Too hot, too cold. You drank too much. Keep it 100. You are absolutely right. I know for myself, even just a glass of wine now will make me dehydrated, and it's not enough. It's not bad enough to take something, but I know myself. I know at that one glass, I'm going to put this down and drink my water because we don't
Right.
need no extra problems. And then you don't want to mix alcohol with any
With your
type of medicine
pain.
anyway. So I completely agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about like a balance,
Yeah.
you know, balancing out when you decide to take your opioids and when you can do something else.
Right. Now, do you guys, when it's actually time to take the what triggers your mind to be like, okay, let me go ahead and take this medicine? Because I know personally, I fight myself a lot on taking it because I know the dependency. I know it. I feel it when I take it. So
I'll let Greg answer first.
Okay.
Let's see. I just feel like when my daily functioning is off, and I'm helpless, then that time comes where it's like, okay, I don't want to take this, but I'm gonna have to until I can, you know, get back to, I guess, like regular life for me. I
Right.
would call it. 'Cause, yeah, I don't, nobody wants to live in pain. Nobody wants to experience that, but because we've been going through it so long, we kind of have conditioned ourselves to, we're a lot tougher than a lot of people, but even the toughest soldiers fall at times, and we can all attest to that. So
Yeah, I like that. I like how you worded that. The toughest soldiers fall sometimes. Yeah.
Usually for me, um, I'll fight it, and my son will be like, "Mom, you know you need to take it. So you're gonna take it eventually. Go ahead and take it now." Or my mom will be like, "Okay, how long has it been? How many days has it been that you didn't take your medication?
Yeah.
And how many more days are you willing to go?" Because I don't like having to be to the point where I can't drive my car because I had to take medication today.
You're
I
right.
like my independence. I like being at home. So I wait as long as I possibly can.
Yeah.
Um,
And we also have to realize that as we age, our bodies are aging as well, and our bodies are changing. So our bodies may not be able to tolerate the things that they've used to, or they just act different. It reacts differently to the same medicine that we're taking. I know at one point when I still get oxys, but they had changed the maker. You know how you got the generic and then the
mhm.
real. So they had changed the maker, and I felt like when it changed, that 4 hour window that you're supposed to wait every 4 hours, the pain came back on the dot. Like now I have to take it at that fourth hour. And sometimes I feel like I'm better off had I not taken anything at all, because now I'm taking it and it's back like clockwork. So that mindset and that mentality of, oh, it's gonna come right back and maybe more because I've taken this, just keeps me from taking it. And like I said, I would cringe in bed before I actually break down and take. I have to be like close to being in tears before I actually take it. And I can't even at this point I can't even take the full dose that I'm supposed to get because my body has changed so much. So people definitely have to be aware of that type of thing. So
Yeah,
great.
being that I have other issues going on now that I'm older, courtesy of sickle cell, I have new gifts. Um, I now know that I can't wait as long as I used to wait before taking payments because it ends up aggravating another issue that I have now.
Yeah.
So that's kind of frustrating to me because I feel like a little bit of the control that I used to have has been taken away from me.
Yeah. Yeah. Tiana says when she finally breaks down and take it, it's when I can't think straight, can't function, I get irritable, and have exhausted all other self-care home coping mechanisms. And I agree with that too. It's sometimes like either the pain is gonna make me irritable and slick bitchy, or the pain meds is gonna make me so. It's like it really doesn't matter at that point. Because both of them is just gonna put me in such a bad mood that I don't want to deal with anybody. So Greg, let me ask you specifically because I know me and you talked about working out and going back to the gym.
okay.
So how do you balance the working out and the pain or the soreness from that, and also not overexerting yourself to the point of having to take some of your prescription pain meds?
Um, I say when it comes to working out, any type of workout I do, I make sure I pace myself. Maybe I'll start off heavy just to see where my body can, what my body can tolerate for that moment, and then I go lighter if I'm lifting weights or if I'm running or something like that. Then I maybe start off slow jogging before I start sprinting, just to see if my body will, see how it will adapt to the trying to see the trauma I'm about to put it through. Let's use that word.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, it's really about pacing yourself, and like we mentioned several times, just knowing your body to know what you can take, and just because you work out, of course, that's not sickle cell pain. That's workout pain. That's lifting weights pain.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
that doesn't
soreness.
require prescription pain meds. That could
Like that's
really,
a Tylenol or Motrin.
if that, because sometimes you could soak in a hot bath or rub some pain cream on for sore
Yeah.
muscles, icy hot. So that type of pain does not require, prescription pain meds for
And I
women.
think though, like people with sickle cell, it's like I have a pain. Oh, that must be sickle cell pain.
Right.
It's not always sickle cell pain. You have to really listen to your body, and I think even our doctors are like, oh, that's sickle cell pain. Oh, that that's the first thing they want to say, and it's dismissive because you can have other things going on that are really important things going on within your body, and it's being dismissed as sickle cell pain or looked at as sickle cell pain, but that pain is different.
Right. The pain from withdrawals is different than sickle cell pain. And a
And
lot of,
some people would rather continue taking meds rather than go ahead and fight through
right.
the withdrawal.
And it's making it harder for them to come away from the prescription meds when you're masking it with, to not even address sickle cell pain. Like you have to just go through the withdrawals. Ain't no way around it. You
Right.
can
I
you
mean,
can
and it sucks
you can
really
wean
bad.
yourself off, cut back on the amount of pills, or instead of every,
You take them.
yeah, you can cut back on it. But I mean, if you bold enough, go cold turkey, but that's not everybody. And like you said, the longer you take those meds to mask that pain, the more you the more you're gonna really depend on them, and it's gonna be harder to come away from them.
I guess maybe the biggest thing is that we just have to not be afraid to experience the pain.
Right. Candace says, also the sad part is that dependence is worse now because patients are getting started on the heavy stuff younger and younger. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh crap. I was shocked to see some of the meds the pediatric patients were taking. I remember when I was younger, I had Motrin, Tylenol, and maybe Tylenol number 3. If you're taking morphine and oxycodone and Dilaudid as a kid, there's not much space to go from there. True.
Right.
In my opinion, healthcare system created this issue, not just in the SC community. It's on us to take control back and be accountable for our health and our lives. My message is just because a doctor prescribes something doesn't mean you have to take it. Advocate for the kids and advocate for yourself. You on point, Candace, as normal.
I agree.
Yeah, but yeah, that's something we mentioned when in that younger age when you started taking that heavy stuff, and now, of course, the common thing is Vicodin, Dilaudid, oxycodone, and not the Tylenol number 3. That was kind of ain't no kind of that was lightweight compared
Yes.
to the stuff that that's given out now. And when you start on such a high dose, I don't care if you are right, and even as adults, people who don't have a chronic illness or deal with chronic pain are given heavy medication to deal with what they're dealing with.
Well,
To me, some of it may not be worth the Percocet. Some of them might be okay with the 800 ibuprofen or Tylenol extra strength, but going straight to Percocet just sets a bad standard to me.
that's why we have the opioid epidemic because
They keep
soccer
giving it out.
moms were out there getting, Vicodins and
She said soccer.
Percocets and stuff because they got their tooth pulled when, Ray Ray down the street got shot and they gave him 800 milligrams, but I ain't gonna say nothing about that.
Go on and talk about it. We here. Go on and talk about it. It's just 6:38. We got time. Go on and talk about it. But yeah, so someone asked, what suggestions do you have about non-medicinal ways of managing pain, not just sickle cell pain, but emotional pain related to having a chronic condition? That is a good question.
Therapy.
Take that one.
Huh?
I'm gonna take that one.
Okay, go ahead, Greg.
I say get you a therapist. It's honestly been the best thing that I've ever done for myself. You can, you can confide in them, and under law, they can't, tell anything about what you all discuss. It's completely confidential, and it's coming from a non-biased point of view. So they can't say anything. They can't judge. They don't know you for one. So you just kind of freely express how you feel, and that takes a lot. That takes a lot of weight off your shoulders. At first, I didn't think therapy would work, and I tried it, and honestly, it's like you just kind of live carefree after that. And then the more you go, the more you will be able to handle. You'll know how to experience it and live through it without finding ways to cope that are damaging to yourself and others.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you said that, like, especially being a black male,
Yes.
and saying that therapy works. I mean, because me and I are always saying therapy, 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 but we're women, and it's like, oh, women, y'all are emotional, you can talk to people, but for any men watching us right now, to hear that coming from you, I think is more powerful than anything that we could have said.
Agreed. I'm gonna leave that where it is. You got it, Greg. But yeah, agreed. I wasn't open to it when I was younger, because I was just dealing with so much, and I just wasn't open to it. But I can attest to what Greg said. Therapy is a huge thing. If you, aside from therapy, because depending on the insurance, you can only go so much. You can definitely do work on yourself at home to kind of get out or flesh out some of those toxic emotions. I think that's going to always be something that we're working on as people, because we deal with so much anyway, just as a collective instead of just my individual situation. As a collective, we just deal with so much, and it can be draining. And if you aren't talking to somebody, or you may be ashamed to, at least start writing it out, or find some type of coping mechanism that you're comfortable with until you are comfortable enough to venture out. But don't be opposed to therapy. I know it's very taboo in our community, and even in some churches, they kind of have their side eye up to therapy, saying, prayer is all you need. And a lot of times it takes more than prayer. It takes some physical work that we need to do on our end, besides just, hey, help me out. I can't deal with this right now. It takes more than that a lot of times.
And I think part of the thing about, just praying your problems away stems from us being told that we don't take our problems outside of the home.
Yeah.
And, if you go to a therapist and it's like your first visit or your first 2 visits or even your first 3 and you don't like it, try another therapist, because it works. You just have to find the person who works well with you. So I know, like, some people may try and venture out and be like, oh, I didn't like it. It could have just been that you didn't have the right fit for you.
Right. And Tanya Robinson said most black people are afraid to admit that they need to see a therapist. Yep, or just in denial. And a lot of times our emotional pain, put sickle cell or physical pain to the side, our emotional pain, and because we have easy access to our prescription meds because we have sickle cell, I ain't gonna say a lot because I don't know, but some of us will turn to the prescription pain meds to mask that emotional pain.
Yeah, but
And
it's
you,
not going to take it away.
it's
And
not
when it wears off, you're going to still be sitting there facing that same emotional pain
right,
because it's something that you have to work through. It's
right,
not something that you can just put a block up. And generationally, we have so much emotional pain that needs to be worked through. You know, there's no way you can take a pill and think that that is going to be the cure all for that.
no,
Exactly.
yeah,
The emotional pain, it can then turn into physical pain. So it's
Absolutely.
kind of like a lose-lose situation. And
it is.
honestly, me starting therapy a few years ago, I was able to see a difference once I, go to therapy, and then I take home what I was taught while in therapy. You honestly, you'll feel a lot lighter. You'll feel a lot healthier, and you probably won't go through so much like physical pain. You won't have to go to the hospital as much. Listen, I can say that I've been doing therapy probably maybe 4 or 5 years, and I've had maybe 3 different ones, but now I have the one that I think I'll stick with.
Nice. And I like that you touched on emotional pain causing physical pain. And I see that with my own family and not resolving certain emotional traumas or emotional situations. Sometimes stuff is swept up under the rug, and of course, it can only get so high before it has to be addressed. So whether that's the emotional pain between with yourself and not addressing those traumas, or emotional pain that you have with someone else, whether it's a friend, family, whatever, but not addressing those emotional issues can come out physically in a number of different ways. And honestly, we deal with enough just having sickle cell alone. So that's one of the things I feel like we can try to control or kind of taper to not add to our sickle cell problems.
Right. I mean, whatever you can control, you should try to,
Right.
because we have a lack of control in so many other areas of our lives. The things that you can do something about, why wouldn't you?
Right. And it's tons of resources out there. I shared before how Be the Match is offering free counseling for families with sickle cell, not just the person living with it, but if your mom or dad or sister, brother, whatever, want to make an appointment with Be the Match to seek a counselor, then take it's free. Do it. You never know how it would. Well, Greg told you how it can impact your life, but take up those offers. Use the resources that are available to get your body adapted to another sense of normalcy. Maybe your normal is taking the medication every day, but in the long run, it's damaging the rest of your body. It might be helping the pain temporarily, but what about your kidneys, your liver? Yeah,
Yeah.
just everything else. Um, so I did want to read a little bit of the article from earlier, which is like the conclusion of it that said, um, let me find it. That said that opioids can lead to what we've been saying, more complications with sickle cell and even to mortality. I also want to say that Dr. Ekman states this often, that the doctors who give us the prescription meds are more likely to become addicted to those meds than we are. He stated
Absolutely.
that opioid addiction, is actually low. Not to say that some don't suffer with addiction, but addiction is actually low among the sickle cell population. So the doctors who give it to us, who probably judging us for it, might be the same ones taking it every day or on lunch. And I'm not saying they do that. Let me clear that up. But you never know. You never know.
I think though that we're less likely to become addicted because, for the most part, like when I talk to people, everyone says the same thing. Like they don't want to take the medication. So, you know, when they look at us and like, oh, there's another drug seeker coming in or whatever, they have it all backwards. It's all wrong. Like nobody wants to be in the hospital. Nobody wants y'all sticking them and getting their medication wrong. Nobody wants to be away from their family for a week or, you know, who would go through all of that just for some medication when I have it at home?
Right. Right. And I don't judge anyone, but I hate the effects from it. So I don't see how people can be addicted to it. I guess because of reasons we mentioned earlier, but the side effects are just so bad. It's like I'd rather just throw all mine away because I don't want to take it. So Candace says narcotics don't fix emotional pain, and often emotional pain causes the physical pain, like Greg stated. You can feel yourself into a crisis. I want to touch on that because, yeah, let me come back to that. I've done it, been physically fine, but stress took me over the edge. Got to clear the mind. So there's been something going around where somebody posted in the group about manifesting sickle cell, and we have manifested this disease to be as bad as we thought it was. And I want to clear that up because dude had it like all wrong. You got manifestations and you have sickle cell all wrong. Like we can't manifest sickle cell away unless you want to go get one of the cure options or something like that. But I can't just be like, oh, I don't have sickle cell anymore. Yes. No. It to me, manifesting is, okay, I have this disease, but tomorrow we're going to get up and do yoga. We're going to stretch it out, and we're going to have a good, low to no pain-free day tomorrow, you know? To me, that's my mindset of manifesting and not some imaginary stuff that, you know what I'm saying?
People got the internet and they decided that they know everything. You know, you read something and you obviously don't know how to interpret it the right way. Um, I'm not gonna name any names,
Okay.
but I was once told that I had sickle cell because I didn't love myself enough. It was something that I gave myself mentally because I didn't think that I deserved love and I didn't love myself enough.
So you just pull sickle cell out the sky. This disease I want right here. I want this one. Out of all of the diseases, I want that one right there. That's what I want.
And they gave me a book and showed me where in this book it says this. So, like I said, people get on the internet or they see something and they read it and they're like, oh, this sounds real good. But they don't have the rest of the brain cells they need to actually figure out what somebody may have meant when they said that.
Right. But I do want to still mention what Candace said about, I know for me, when I'm mentally stressed, my body soon follows.
My body's stressed.
Yeah, the body, it might be a day or maybe two later, depending on how bad the mental stress was. But even when I realize what's going on, because sometimes we can't avoid stress. So sometimes when I know I've been through a mentally stressed situation, I have to start immediately implementing those things that decompress me. Because again, I don't want to be in pain, and even more so, I don't want to take the pain medication. So it's still, you have to really understand both the disease and manifesting and the mental and physical connection to put those two together.
Right. I mean, there are a lot of things that you can manifest within your body. But
sickle cell ain't one of them. Yeah, I no. So let me see how much more time.
This has been rather enlightening. A rather enlightening discussion.
It has been. You want to add anything, Greg?
Trying to see. As far as
just anything about the discussion that we've had you want to share? Well, you did pretty good, but that's it.
I mean,
We done.
no, let me see. I guess I could piggyback to dependency and the addiction. I don't want to place blame on anybody, but I think some of the practices for pediatric care maybe should, we should do those a little different. I don't think a kid that barely weighs 60 pounds should be on a PCA pump with morphine. Their brain is not even developed yet. So I just think they're, started from a beginning standpoint that we need to go back to the drawing board and try to see what we can do to maybe prevent some of these addictive behaviors and practices that just happen over time. And then, the product is that you may have an adult that is addicted to narcotics or any type of pain medication. There could be something done to slow that process down.
Yeah, and I do know of one pediatrician who is maybe in the last couple of years that has started talking about alternative ways to treat pain, like the deep breathing and meditating. And she's done workshops on this. So hopefully, and even in the mentor training that I've been doing, it talks about more of a holistic methods of dealing with it. So hopefully for this new generation coming up and even to come, then we can implement those things. So thank you, Greg, for coming and helping us host. We want to shout out our sponsors. So first, we want to thank Apex Museum and Mr. Dan Moore. Please, when everything opens back up, please go and see him. Go see the museum. It's absolutely phenomenal, and it's about our history. Black folks, let's go support them. Tanya Robinson with Kids Stop Daycare and Learning Center. She's making it do what it do, even in the COVID. Them babies in there learning. And we like to thank Black Professionals Network. So thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for your comments. We really appreciate your feedback. And this was a very good conversation that we had today.
Yeah, and Greg, I'm so thankful for you sitting in today and your point of view. It's invaluable, and I love hearing your perspective as a man.
I appreciate that.
That was so sweet.
I'm nice.
Bye, y'all. Y'all have a good night. See y'all in 2 weeks.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Deadly combo. Black Prophet. Charlie Black, AR the Prophet.
AR the Prophet, Charlie Black, a deadly combination. Hold up, I don't think they heard me. I said, AR the Prophet, Charlie Black, a deadly combination. Hey yo, turn me up a little. We good. AR the Prophet, Charlie Black, a deadly combination. It's been long overdue, I know the streets been waiting. Which takes a lot of patience, cause you never rush straight. This one's for the record, but going down history in the making. AR the Prophet, Charlie Black, a deadly combination. It's been long overdue, I know the streets been waiting. Which takes a lot of patience, cause you never rush straight. This was for the record, but going down history in the making. First it was Elijah Muhammad, now we the honorable Black Prophet. We been in our bag and out of our feelings, securing all the profit. And going outside, don't know what you hearing, so miss me with that gossip. Saying sucker free from mob shit, let someone get out of pocket. Whoa, we come from different walks of life, but relate to the same cause. Silent live a fight, laid up behind them hospital walls. They focus like a face, but like syringes sharper than a knife. Take a cookie from the jar, grind it, wrap it in the raw. YBT with stay loyal, no damn miss a prop. Shots to my producers, King Jones, it's a hop. AR with the alley-oop, I do him up a lot. Far from a corny nigga, I'm the hottest shot of cop. I had to boss up for a check, move my fam up out the jets, draft some key players in my set, sauce with a blue cheese dabber ranch. I am a club member, you a guest. Speak of my name, better put respect. Step up to me, gotta come correct. Fuck who got now or who got up next? Yeah, AR the Prophet, Charlie Black, a deadly combination. It's been long overdue, I know the streets been waiting. Which takes a lot of patience, cause you never rush greatness. This one's for the record, but going down history in the making. Hey, y'all, the Prophet, Charlie Black, a deadly combination. It's been long overdue, I know the streets been waiting. Which takes a lot of patience, cause you never rush greatness. This one's for the record, but going down history in the making.
Hey, the Prophet, Charlie Black, Black Prophet, that's a fact. Going down in history and it's a fact. It's a deadly combo, niggas know that. Prophet, that's a fact. Black Prophet, from the bottom of the map. Atlanta, Georgia to Florida. We up in them waters, it's on, bruh. Black Prophet, that's a fact. Deadly combination, y'all got it at. They ain't ready for that shit, Charlie Black. Let's give it to him, bruh. Welcome.